How's it going, everybody? Definitely trying to get better at these timing these what am I trying to say? Timing these videos. But I'm trying to get them done around 1 or 2, so I've been pretty good about that. So if anything, I guess the message of this story, this video is called Mustard Seed Faith, and it's just to show um, just the faith of doing anything. Um, for me, I guess. Been feeling pretty sluggish, pretty tired, and it just made me think in terms of just what can I do, and it just made me think, just being able to do something, even if you don't have the motivation, is a good act of faith, because faith is doing something without proof. Now, of course, we may say wisdom is proof, but it's from what I mean, you definitely could say that, but from what I've understood is that proof is that's things that are tested, things that are replicated, and going through the what do they call it, the scientific notation, and then after that it's debated as a theory. Then after that is to consider a fact. And since science is continuously moving, um, I want to say even those facts itself are challenged. So we go through the ringer of trying to solve things to be fact versus things that are still theories. And so perhaps we tie this back to wisdom because wisdom in itself is definitely age old facts or age old theories that have been existed through time. But I say some of those things can be regarded as facts that are faithfully regarded over time. And even so, we have this expectation of these facts that we continuously hold on to them and continue to trust, continue to have faith that those concepts and concepts, and ideas are traveled throughout time and still hold true to this day versus its origin. So I'm looking because I'm like I got this game I'm watching, and I'm like hopefully trying to wait and see if somebody's gonna be joining. But yeah. So it's just the idea, just persistent. But before we even get to all that and faithfully pursuing something, you got to do something, and that could be anything. It could be like, for instance, if you're feeling lazy, I say just think, because I know like in the for me, I suffer with laziness at times, and so part of that, at least for me, part of solving that is getting up, and looking around and using your brain. Because I get that if you're lazy, you just feel like the stimulus around you, the things around you just don't seem that interesting, that fun, that I guess stimulating. It just doesn't seem like it does anything for you. So it's like for me, I kind of had this thought like, oh, my stuff isn't working, my things aren't working, and I was just too unmotivated to try to figure it out, and I just went to the assumption that like, man, my stuff must be broken. But it turns out there's a switch around here that turns on half of the electronics. So I'm like, okay. But it took me like about a day to actually, because even though these things were kind of in my head, like maybe it's that, and I'm like, nah, it can't be that. It can't be that. My stuff has to be broken. So it's like kind of disregarding those negative thoughts that kind of hold you captive, and it's like, no, check it out. No, take a look. Maybe it's not what you thought they were. So it's like kind of removing those arrogant thoughts that may may override your mind at times, where it's like, it has to be, life has to be like this, you know and it's like, no, there's something to do, there's always something to do, there's always some kind of hope available. So it's like, perhaps you need to do something small like stretch. You know, you may think, man, stretching isn't going to do anything, but there you go. The cynic inside you says there is really no hope. Only, only thing that exists and that really matters is West right now. And it's like that's not entirely true. That's not entirely true. And for me, I would think for the person, which for me, the person who's probably the most unhappy is the person who thinks that they have life figured out. And the thing is that life isn't a math problem, I suppose. It's a journey. You continuously figure things out. You continuously discover new things. Um, I was just reading this book. Great book. It's okay. It's kind of mirrored, but it says summary for 12 rules for life, an antidote to chaos by Jordan Peterson. I know it says like Norjod Nurperception or whatever, but yeah, it's from Jordan Peterson's. I wish I could show you this, but I probably need a mirror. But yeah, there it goes. I could show you it, but I'm just gonna sit here. So here we go. Not taking my own taking my own advice, but simply put, and I guess what reason I brought this book up is because it has a lot of info in it. It has a lot of things that just tells you a lot of practical things, like do it. Some things you have to do. Like for instance, I'm reading on this section of what is it, conversations, and it's like try to listen to people. Don't be the main person talking. Have a give and take. Um, expect this person to know some stuff and to be willing to learn some stuff and to have this relational talking points that goes back and forth. Like I know some stuff, you know some stuff. I may know some stuff you don't know, you may know some stuff I don't know. But part of that just denying arrogance. I think that's the bigger idea behind this. Denying arrogance and having some faith and doing some things. Faith isn't always something that's extremely hard to socially do. Sometimes it's extremely hard to personally do. And for me, I like to think that people who are very prominent, like one thing that kind of, I don't know if anybody knows this, but people regard Paul in such high regard. And one of his first letters was 10 years after he 10 years post ministry. So this isn't him just a repertoire, a resume of some sorts. If you read in Galatians, he'll say he's this has been a long time. Now in Acts, of course, he has these. This is him doing it. This is him possibly potentially actively doing it during the time of his conversion. But as far as I can tell, to me, when I read it, it seems to me that he's continuously doing this as the days go by. Like he's every day he's talking to people. The next day he's talking to people. The next day he's traveling somewhere to talk to people. At least that's the narrative. The understanding. I'm getting the perspective I'm put on in terms of the text. But I like to think that maybe he talked like for instance Acts 17. He walked among the building. He walked among I can't even remember the place. Maybe it was Corinth. He went among the places and he was talking to. He was checking out the deities there, and then he went to the forum, the public forum where they're talking, and he came among some philosophers, and so he used his experience, the things he looked around. He looked around. Oh, I see from what I saw in your, and they said before that it distressed him. It stressed him out, because he was just very Christ heavy in this at the time, and he, probably persisted, but he just continued to keep pressing forward. He was so enriched in Christ that seeing other gods in this place distressed him, and so his talking point, the Spirit definitely leads. The Spirit gives you faith, gives you confidence, gives you this belief that something is possible. At least for me, there's been times where it's like I don't know where the feeling is coming from, where the tugging, the feel of faith, like the belief that this is possible. I don't know why, but sorry about that. So that so I guess a lot of it has to do with courage. A lot of it has to do with bravery. A lot of it has to do with obedience to Christ if you are a Christian. But another part of this is faith. There's some things that you have to do practically, personally in your life, and something things you have to do on the other side. Like you might have to improve. Just going outside, moving around, doing something. Because having like I again I one another portion of this idea was Vsauce. I forget his name, Daniel, Dave, something like that. He did this experiment on Minefield, and this is when I had a subscription, like a premium subscription on YouTube. Was when I saw it. He had one of his experiments in which there was no stimulus, like very little stimulus, if any, and he himself went inside a room for I think 24 hours, if not 3 days or something like that, where it was no stimulus, and they said a person with no stimulus could lose their mind, and he based it off misery or boredom is closely tied to misery because on both instances there's no stimulus, and so it seemed like being aware. I think we need to be more aware about what do we like, what are happening to tinker with, what do we have our hands on, or what are we thinking about, being aware. And that's another point in the book is that is being aware. But ultimately, it's just consider the things around you. You have creativity in you, and you can basically connect anything to anything. So if you say CDs are spherical, CDs are a disc. You can throw a disc. If you throw a disc, I wonder if a dog would catch it, and what kind of dog is it. You can create whatever you want. So it's just kind of tying that together. Just if you want to be creative, just look around and don't let expectations of this is silly to